back here in the final segment of Jones and Company today. We continue to talk about the dispute between the developer of Bahama, Sarkis Ismailian, and the China Construction Company. And Madam Attorney General, Sir Baltron, the China Construction Company, according to the developer, never built a hotel, a touristic property.
This would be infrastructural.
I'm told that they build roads and bridges and things such. Was the wrong construction company chosen?
No. China Construction has the capacity to build any type of building. Expertise can be hired. Now, I think it's rather late for the developer to be saying he chose the wrong contractor. It's his choice.
But was he forced to choose this contractor because the Exim Bank and the China Construction Company are both owned by the government of China?
It's a part of the arrangements that in every country that you, with which Chinese companies are doing business, that you're required to use a certain amount of Chinese content in a contract, whether it's labor or whether it's materials. And in this instance, it was labor.
May I add that it's not unique to the People's Republic of China, Sir Baltron and gentlemen. U.S. aid is frequently tied to buying, using the money for which the aid is given, to buy from U.S. companies. So this is not something that is
or U.S.
new.
manufacturers.
Exactly. So it's not new.
And
not just U.S., other countries as well.
I want to, for the sake of balance, put certain positions of Mr. Ismailian to you so that you can respond to them. And various press releases sent out gave the public the clear impression that the government of the Bahamas would just not stand by him.
Yeah.
That the government of the Bahamas has this relationship with the Chinese, and he says that if the governor of the Bahamas stood by him, you would bring political pressure to bear and other suasions to bear on the Chinese so that this project can be completed. How do you respond?
The government of the Bahamas has done all of that and more. Tell me a developer in this country to whom the government has granted $1.2 billion in concessions. Tell me of a hotel company or of a touristic enterprise where the government, in addition to agreeing to provide $4 million of marketing support a year for 8 years, agrees to spend $20 million in a launch of the project. Tell me of a developer where the Prime Minister of the country has gone out at his behest to intervene with his bankers to provide him with more money to complete the project.
And the banker said yes.
Yes, at the Prime Minister's intervention. Said no to Mr. Ismailian, but yes at the Prime Minister's intervention.
And the reason that the Prime Minister intervened is that his entire, at the behest, yes, of Mr. Ismailian, and the Prime Minister's focus is the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. There's the recognition that all of the investment that Sir Baltron spoke of, that is being put into the project by the government, is for the benefit of our country and our people. And that is the focus of the government. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas and Bahamians.
Now, I wouldn't want to end this program by not including the following. Mr. Ismailian is to be commended for the investment and the confidence that he has shown in the Bahamas. Albeit there have been events in more recent times which have raised eyebrows. But nevertheless, it is a very significant investment development. It's the largest single touristic development taking place in the hemisphere. It was very courageous on his part to go out and to secure a $2.45 billion loan to fund this project. So those are very positive factors to take into consideration.
Yes. Before we conclude the program, too, I'd like the Attorney General to respond to one of the press releases that Mr. Ismailian put out when he talked about your action in the courts amounted to nationalization. Some other political pundits even said that the government is seeking to confiscate this man's property by your action, by the action of seeking a liquidator.
I just want to repeat and support what the Prime Minister said, and that is that Mr. Ismailian, who is a sophisticated international investor, his family is very successful, and he is, as part of that family, knew full well when he made that statement that he was telling something that is simply untrue. It is simply untrue. Not only is it unconstitutional, as the Prime Minister said, but it flies in the face of the personal philosophy of Perry Gladstone Christie and his government. It is simply untrue and very dangerous to have, in terms of our sovereign rating, to have made such a statement at that time that he knew, he had to have known, was untrue. I take grave objection to it. Now, I do want to support all that Sir Baltron has said about the importance of the investment and the courage of Mr. Ismailian in making the investment. I want to add that I want to commend all of the parties who came to the table in Beijing, putting aside all differences, the tenor of the tense or terse statements that have been exchanged in the media, and I want to applaud them for the good faith and focus and dedication that was brought to those negotiations that actually enabled, as Ismailian has admitted himself, a commercial agreement to be arrived at and a construction agreement. The only thing left is the guarantee, and we hope that that can be resolved. If I can add one more thing.
Do you think that it can be resolved in the short term? We are looking at significant intransigency here on the part of the developer, it seems sometimes, and on the part of the construction company, it seems sometimes. Because the construction company, I believe, has admitted that they ought to pay a significant penalty for lateness, but yet do not want to give a straight-out document to the bank to take care of certain expenses.
Without disclosing
this
any
guarantee that we're talking about.
Without disclosing any details of the commercial understanding which was reached in Beijing, save for the guarantee, it also involved all of these matters being settled to the satisfaction of the parties.
All parties.
All parties.
Yes, but that doesn't...
So it's not true to say that.
That doesn't make the Bahamian people feel any better. What we see now, as Fred Mitchell said at the United Nations, is an entity that is destabilizing the economy of the Bahamas.
And that is very sad. That is very, very sad in that it is something which gets out there in the international community. Notwithstanding that, while all of this is going on, there is significant interest in the investment community in further investment in the Bahamas.
I'm glad you said that, Sir Baltron, because you are an internationalist. You have been a leader in tourism in the Caribbean, indeed in the world, in your many years in tourism. What has this done to the brand in the Bahamas, our tourism brand?
What this has done, it has delayed the fulfillment of certain expectations. Here we have Hyatt coming in with a large convention hotel. We have Rosewoods, which is a new, very upscale brand. We have SLS, which is a brand which appeals very much to the moderns. We've delayed this. We've had a delay. And it's a delay which I hope that we can overcome and move forward from this and to realize the objective of having this project completed. Now, let me also indicate, with regard to investor confidence, when the developer unexpectedly announced to the Prime Minister that he had filed for Chapter 11, it was indicated by his bankruptcy lawyer, who was present, that they would propose to go out and find investment bankers who would be able to secure partners to come in and express that expectation to the Prime Minister. Now, I can tell you that independently of what has been said, that there are international investors who would be interested in joining Mr. Ismailian in this project, should he so decide.
From a national perspective, I've heard Mr. Halkidas in the House this week make the statement that we need to look at the role foreign direct investment plays in our economy. I've read the statement by Mr. Mitchell in New Zealand. Madam AG and Sir Baltron, what have we as a country learned from this experience?
What the country has learned from this experience is that we were right when we were insisting in 2005 of having world-class equity partners in a project of this nature. There's nothing wrong with big projects. Let's dispel that notion. There's nothing wrong with big projects as long as they are properly executed. We live in a world where we have to compete. So you're going to have small projects, multiple small projects, and the Bahamas needs many more smaller and medium-sized projects. But it also needs some big projects that is going to draw world attention to a world-class destination. And this is one of them.
Would it have been better in hindsight if the government had insisted that this be phased in rather than a single phase project, that you would have done these 4 hotels, the casino, the convention center, on a phase-by-phase basis?
Well, the latter is the approach that Atlantis took in their development. Atlantis was redeveloped in stages.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you mentioned Atlantis, because I've had the experience of working through a bankrupt Resorts International, which was the forerunner of Atlantis, and we fixed that.
Yes.
And Atlantis is today a prospering, very successful mega resort project.
This
Yes?
is one of the reasons I wanted to say, and this is a nice segue, I have to say that to have the delegation in Beijing representing our country was something that was quite amazing. To see, just look at a globe, we have a globe here, our country's a dot. To see the confidence that the People's Republic of China, and look at the globe and see the size of this country, the respect that it has for our Prime Minister and the high regard with which it holds our country, and to see the high regard with which they held Sir Baltron, who is a world-renowned tourism development expert who has been honored by Her Majesty the Queen, and to see the members of the team of the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of the Prime Minister represent our country so skillfully. I want to assure those who are watching and listening that the delegation was highly respected by the other 3 members of the 4-party talks, and they represented our country well and did our country proud. And I personally want to thank the Prime Minister for allowing us to travel and to represent our country, and to thank Sir Baltron for continually showcasing our country through the way that he conducts himself and his wisdom and prowess.
Having said what you just said,
tremendously important.
Having said what you just said, and there are a whole lot of people who have high regard for what you have done, Were you deflated when you returned the second time? Because there was a thought that you should not have gone back to China unless you were assured of an agreement. Did it cause any deflation in your outlook, your ego, or whatever else when you returned without an agreement?
I'm happy you asked me that question, Mr. Jones. The objective here is to get the hotel remobilized, open, and operational. We would like to see it by agreement. In the event that that can't happen, and the Prime Minister has satisfied himself that it can't happen, then that will happen for the auspices of the Bahamas courts. So for me, I was satisfied that everything that I was doing was a move. We are moving forward. We are moving. We saw a little movement by the developer yesterday who made a reaching out to the Prime Minister, and I want everybody to be confident that when the Prime Minister says, yes, proceed with the provisional liquidator in our court, that application, he will have satisfied himself that everything has been done that can be done to arrive at a settlement of this matter.
So the Prime Minister is magnanimous enough to speak with the developer, given all of the poison in the well?
He is adamant about this, and I would like Sir Baltron to speak about it as well. He's the Prime Minister. Now, of course, he's offended by certain things, and he's responded as he deems appropriate. Most important for him, though, and I'm telling you, he's consumed by this. We've been in the office. In Beijing, we stayed up until 4 a.m. one morning, until 2 a.m. the other morning. Again, this trip as well, up late. I've been here in Nassau, the Prime Minister's office, late. The Prime Minister wants to see that we have made every effort possible to get that project remobilized, open, and operational for the benefit of the Bahamian people.
Madam Ishi, suppose we had done nothing. What would have happened?
I think that would have been, you may not do anything at all and let it go down.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have been a good thing at all.
Or to allow Mr. Smillian to go through with Chapter 11.
Yeah.
Well, I've already indicated
Yes.
that the possibility of a Chapter 11 was not an option, and I think it's fair enough to have indicated that the Prime Minister wanted to be satisfied that his administration had done everything possible to see that that enterprise, that project, is open and operational for the benefit of the Bahamian people, that the dream, the entire, that's the harvest. The trees have been planted, a significant effort has been made, and we would like to see the fruit harvested. That is the Prime Minister's wish.
Well, Madam Attorney General, Sir Baltron, thank you so very much. And we thank you for working as hard as you've been doing over these many months to resolve this situation. And I am sure that you are working hard in the interest of the Bahamian people.
Well,
thank you.
thank you, and we get that inspiration from the Prime Minister. Nobody's working harder than him.
Yes,
Nobody is.
thank you.
Fact.
Thank you, Godfrey.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to our program today. Good evening, everyone.